Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Battle Inside podcast. My name is Chris America. This is episode number 14. And if you are new to the show, welcome. Appreciate you listening. I feel like I'm a little loud. Maybe I'm not. Anyways, let me just start off. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, medical expert, anything of that sort. This is just a podcast about my story. This is a podcast that I've been doing since April 10th, and it is about my story. It is about my life. It is about my mental illness. It is about my traumas. It is about everything that's going on in my life now and everything that's going on in my life in the past. This is going to be one of the most difficult episodes because of what went down this week. And so I'm not sure how it's going to go. I'm not sure how my emotions are going to feel. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling hurt. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling disappointed. I'm feeling confused. I'm feeling just so many emotions right now, and I'll just skip to the point. If you've listened to the last two episodes, you know that I finally told everybody what my mental loop is and what gets played in it and every single detail of what happened to me between the months of March and all the way up to today. And after I released that episode, I felt free from the loop. I felt empowered, and I got what I wanted out of it. I got my empowerment, and I got people to understand what my mental loop was. And I got people to either see themselves in Juan or Jen, or they got to see themselves in me. And I had several emails of people saying they were one or the other. Some people said they were shitbags too, and they recognized their shitbags. And, of course, a shitbag is anybody who cheats or sneaks around emotionally or physically, or anybody who's single and sleeps around or has an emotional relationship or does anything with somebody who's married or in a relationship. And that I also said that all these shitbags, including myself, need to get help. And so I also said that, sorry. I also said that I was going to possibly see backlash. And I hope that Juan and Jen and whoever else I mentioned in the show don't do any backlash, that it would be like trying to fill water into a bucket with holes in it. And that they should spend their energy focusing inward on themselves, and that they should go get help and figure out why they're shitbags. Much like I'm doing right now. Been getting help for the last 2 months, figuring out my mental illness, figuring out why I can be a shitbag from time to time, figuring out what is going on with me and my traumas, and all of this stuff. What makes me fail? What makes me fall short? What makes me hurt other people? What is it that makes me do it? And I'm getting help for it. And I wish they would have too. I wish that's what they would have done. But unfortunately, it's not what they would have done. And so now this whole entire episode is going to be me describing what happened this week for my own legal protection and to voice out what happened to me, because I am hurt. I am shocked. And this was one of the worst weeks of my life. I had said, bring your worst. There's nothing you can do that can hurt me more than you already have. And I was mostly correct. What happened this week with Jen is the second worst thing she's ever done to me. The first worst thing she's ever done to me is take her son out of my life and break my son's heart and make me watch it all the time and do nothing about it. That's first. So she didn't outdo that. But the next thing her and Juan did was almost as bad. And so we'll get to Jen first. On Friday of last week, 2 days after she called me 3 times and I ignored them, after she texted me and I told her, please don't talk to me unless it's with a counselor in front of us. Sorry. She goes down and files a domestic violence injunction against me. And hold on, I'm trying to pull it out now. As you know, I'm never really all that prepared. Okay, so Jen goes down to file an injunction against me. Domestic violence injunction. And those words being next to my name, those words being associated with my name, being accused of that, as somebody who is not violent at all, who is doing part of the reason why I'm doing this show is to advocate for victims and to hopefully show them that they can be strong, that they can stand up for themselves, whether it's through abuse, sexual abuse, domestic violence, whatever the case may be, cheating, emotionally cheating, lying, backstabbing, whatever you're a victim of, whatever shitty behavior you're a victim of. So I see that she's done this. One, she calls a good friend of mine, somebody I've known since my early 20s, because she's a family paralegal and she's always helped her out with her family stuff, including marrying us on January 9th, 2019. And so she goes to her one last time and says, hey, I'm filing a domestic violence injunction against Chris. Can you help me with it? And my friend basically said, are you ridiculous? Like, are you seriously asking me? No, stop contacting me. I'm done. Don't use me for your divorce. Don't help me. Don't ask me for help anymore. You're being ridiculous. Go away. And so she did. And so she filed the domestic violence injunction against me on her own. And so several things here that she checked, boxes that she checked. She checked a box that says petitioner is either a victim of domestic violence or has reasonable cause to believe he or she is in imminent danger of becoming a victim of domestic violence because the respondent has, and then marked the following section. And she checked the box that says committed or threatened to commit domestic violence defined in section 741.28 Florida statutes as any assault, aggravated assault, battery, aggravated battery, sexual assault, sexual battery, stalking, aggravated stalking, kidnapping, false imprisonment, or any criminal offense resulting in physical injury or death of one family member or household member by another, with the exception of persons who are parents of a child in common. The family or household members must be currently residing or have in the past resided together in the same single dwelling unit. That is the one she checked. I list off those things: assault, aggravated assault, battery, aggravated battery, sexual assault, sexual battery, stalking, aggravated stalking, kidnapping, false imprisonment, or any criminal offense resulting in physical injury or death. Sorry, none of that has ever applied to me. None of that has ever entered my mind, ever. No matter how flawed I get, no matter how bad my mental illness gets, no matter how bad my anxiety gets, I am never, ever once in my life, let alone the 3 years I've been with Jennifer, have ever communicated that, texted that, or said it on the show at all, or had any physical violence against her. So for her to check that box as a sworn statement, that hurts a lot. So then she makes her statement below that I have repeatedly used the podcast platform to slander with the intent of causing emotional harm. This behavior is increasing in frequency and intensity, and as a result has caused substantial emotional distress, including making the petitioner afraid and anxious. The communication of the podcast is malicious in nature due to the level of anger displayed on the podcast and the unstable emotional nature, and in parentheses she put suicidal, of the respondent. The petitioner is extremely concerned about the physical and emotional safety of herself and her 10-year-old son. The respondent is aware of the petitioner's home and work addresses and typical work weekly routine. And then she checked another box. Respondent has a history of mental health. If checked, answer the following questions. Has respondent ever been subject to bank racket? Yes. Is respondent supposed to take medication for mental health problems? Yes. If yes, respondent is currently taking his or her medication? Unknown. So then she types up another statement. The dates of repeated harassment and stalking through the podcast platform are listed below. The podcast is titled The Battle Inside Podcast and is through Scout Team Radio. and on Apple iTunes and Podbean. A complaint has already been filed with Apple. Keep that in the back of your mind right now. No spoiler alerts here, but I'll let you guess who it was that filed the complaint with Apple. And I'll give you a hint. It wasn't Jen. So she listed off all the dates of my episodes. The June 12th and June 13th podcast specifically were extremely vulgar and disparaging in nature. The respondent repeatedly slanders the petitioner with unsubstantiated claims and with a tremendous amount of anger and rage. These podcasts are harassing and offensive in nature and continue to cause extreme emotional distress. In addition, the podcasts are continuing to cause the petitioner fear and anxiety. Shoot. I hope the computer didn't die. Okay, sorry. Fell asleep there on me. Okay. So then basically she tells me all the places I can't go, which is kind of ridiculous. One of them was I can't go to the martial arts class to take my son. Luckily for her, that he doesn't go there anymore. So it's kind of ridiculous that she even checked that. But two, if he did go there, it would be extremely unfair to my son that he's not allowed to go there for a week because she checked that box. And her son is with his dad over the summer. She's not even there. So granted, she also checked a box that says for me to stay away from the gym that she goes to, which is one I haven't been to since the end of May. And I guess that's within 500 feet of the gym, so maybe that would have covered it anyways. But the fact that she put either one of them keeping me from possibly taking my son to there, when she knows that everything in that entire statement is a lie, and the entire thing is just to get me to get off the podcast, to take the podcast down. And unfortunately for me, fortunate for Jennifer, Judge Alley listened to her complaints, and she asked her several times, where's the threat? Has Chris ever threatened you in the podcast or in person? No. Has Chris ever been violent towards you? No. Does he threaten violence in the podcast? No. Okay, so does he talk directly to you in the podcast? Well, not all the time, but sometimes he's talking directly to me. Okay, how do you listen to the podcast? Oh, my friends tell me about it. Oh, your friends tell you about it. So, like, he's not sending it to you or anything like that? Nope. So you're choosing to listen to these on your own? Yes. And then she kind of looks and says, how did this even get through? How is this case even being presented to me? And basically the judge dismissed it and said that she can't do anything about the podcast, that it's my right and freedom to talk about whatever I want on the podcast, and until I become violent or threaten violence or anything else, that there's nothing she can do, and she dismissed it. And I was only disappointed because I wanted to have my truth or the truth come out, and I started to say ma'am, and she said, nope, don't talk. When you win, you don't talk. Just accept it, and don't go broadcasting that you did anything today, because you didn't. I did. And I said, okay, ma'am. And she's right. Today, in the courtroom, I did nothing. I sat there, and I listened to Jen give one desperate, lame excuse after another and tell one lie after another. Like, she runs into me all the time at the gym. I cannot tell you the last time I saw her at the gym, because, again, I haven't been to that gym since May. She sees me at Victory Martial Arts. She has not seen me at Victory Martial Arts again since the end of May. What else did she say? That was it. It's just all these lies because I'm avoiding her. She causes me anxiety and stress, and I try to stay the hell away from her as long as I can, because until I either find my peace on my own or she gets help and tries to find peace with me, I don't want anything to do with her. And so that brings me to the fact of the case at hand and the truth that I didn't get to have presented. So I have my little court files here, and I'll start off with this. On Wednesday, June 12th, missed call 10:52 a.m. from Jennifer to me. I ignored the call. I do not want to talk to Jennifer. Remember, this is somebody who's afraid of her life and afraid of me and afraid that I'm going to do something to harm her and cause her emotional distress. June 12th, 12:26 p.m., Jennifer calls me again. I ignore a phone call because, again, I don't want to talk to her. I don't want to get into her. I'm at work. June 12th, 12:27 p.m., one of these ones, she tried to FaceTime me. Which one was it? maybe she didn't try to FaceTime me. I don't know. But she tried calling me 3 times in a row. I didn't answer. So then the following conversation pursued, and I'm going to read this conversation verbatim because she wanted to make this public, more public than what I'm doing, because only a few people can hear this thing. But now anybody can search my name within the Seminole County Clerk of Courts and see domestic violence injunction filed against me. And since I did not get my truth heard or the truth heard because it was dismissed, I do not want anybody thinking that Jennifer got off of this because of a technicality of her not being able to prove that I'm violent or that she had no evidence. I'm going to prove right now through her text messages to me on June 12th, after she tried calling me 3 times and I ignored her, that she is a liar and that she only did this domestic violence dispute because she's vindictive and she was desperate to get this podcast taken down because she is shamed. Okay? And that's what we're going to do right now. And I want you guys, you listening, please, I know that you guys are here for the juicy details, and I know that you're here for this, but there is so much to learn here. From me, from her, from Juan, from everybody involved in this. There is so much to learn here, and I'll try to cover it all. But we'll start off with this. 12:28, after she called me the 3rd time. Chris, this is her. I'm going to read the entire conversation because I need the truth heard. And I didn't get to have it submitted in court. I tried to, so that could be on public record. So anyway, anybody who looks at this case can see all the lies and the conniving and the scheming to try to ruin my name because she can't handle the truth being out there about her. And she's going to confirm through these text messages that what I said on those podcasts is true. And then I'm going to bring up other text messages from the past to show that what I said on the podcast is true as well. Jennifer, can we talk? Can we please talk like adults? I'm not telling you this to threaten you. It's going to get messy fast if you don't take that down. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me. I don't want that to anybody. For anybody. I just want to talk, please. That's how she starts off. That's how the person who is emotionally distressed and afraid of me and fearful of her life and her son's life, that is how she leads off the text message to me. With a threat of it's going to get messy fast if you don't take this down. And I don't want any of that. I just want to talk, please. And I said, this will be my only message to you, and I will not respond anymore. Like you, I'm tired of going in circles. If you want to talk, you can schedule an appointment with a marriage counselor, and I will have a conversation with you there. Otherwise, I'm not interested in anything you have to say or threats you have to make or what your feelings are about how I'm choosing to handle my pain and my story. She responded, I will schedule the appointment today. Will you take it down? Will you take that down until we talk? I am busy Thursday and Friday. This is me talking. I am busy Thursday and Friday. I am busy Thursday, and Friday is my next day off. After that, and I may have Landon, I'm not missing work for this. You have to know between my molestation and me hiding in shame with that trauma and spending my whole life protecting him and not me, my trauma with my dad and never telling him or anyone else just how bad he hurt me, and now, yes, with you, the trauma of every single thing you did to me that I laid out in the email. Through my EMDR, I realized I've never given myself a voice. I will always be used and abused by you 3, and I've always been used and abused by you 3, and I still loved, I still pursued, and I still protected all 3 of you at my own expense, and I'm done protecting you from what you did to me. I'm done protecting what you did to me, period. End of story. I'm standing up for myself. I'm voicing my hurt and pain to anyone who wants to listen, and I'm helping others who have been in relationships where they were treated like S or like shit, like you've treated me, and I'm showing them that they can be strong and stand up for themselves through that shitstorm. Now I have to work. I've already wasted countless minutes and hours talking to you as a brick wall. I need to stay on track, and I don't have time to waste on a person who hasn't even given a shit about me in 2 months. Enjoy the rest of your day. So this is me twice now saying, I don't want to talk to you. But the person who is emotionally distressed and fearful of her life of me and thinks that I'm going to hurt her or her son is continuing to talk to me after I've twice told her to stop talking to me. I want to talk to you about it, but you and me and the counselor, not the public. Jen, I gave you 2 months to talk about it. 2 months and countless amount of times begging you to lower your walls and stop the madness and stop treating me like I'm a piece of shit. Why don't you listen to the episode all the way through and hear how much my loop fucking drives me up the wall all the time? She responds, I am listening to it. I don't mind if you drag me through the mud, but Juan and his business, my friend, none of this is their fault. So take note of that. My podcast is causing her emotional distress. Remember? That's what she put down. I didn't write that. She wrote that. My podcast is causing her emotional distress, yet she just gave me permission to drag her name through the mud. What she doesn't want to have happened is her friend, the one that told her that she's talking to her ex and that it's okay and that my son can, get over it if they get a divorce, that Jen needs to chase her happiness and that a guy like Juan is the type of guy that she needs to be with. That friend, she's protecting her and she's protecting Juan and his business, the running elements. I said, you make the appointment because it's the right thing to do, because wanting my forgiveness actually matters to you, not because you want me to take down my podcast that expresses my pain because of the shit you put me through. She responds, I fucked up. Me, not them. They all fucking hurt me. Yes, they did fuck up. No, she responds, I hurt you. I said, tell them to stop being shitbags. She responds, I fucked up. I said, his pursuit of you fucked me up. Your friend's shitty-ass advice straight out the gate fucked me up. He didn't pursue me, she says. It was on me. I said, he didn't stop you. He told you to go after what you want. Tell him to stop fucking sliding into women's DMs who have families and trying to get them to hook up with him. Tell him to be a good fucking guy, but he's not. Jen responds, Chris, you're hurting, and I'm sorry. And I'm sorry I fucked up, but fucking over others isn't going to fix anything. I don't understand your endgame. I don't understand what you're trying to do or what you want out of this. I said, he's a selfish piece of shit. He's a selfish piece of shit parasite that never once told you to stop fucking talking to him and go figure your shit out. Jen responds, Chris, seriously, I am beyond begging. This isn't right. My end game, Jen, is to be heard and express my pain. I feel free today. I feel strong. She responds, what do you want from me? No, Jen, what isn't right is fucking around with a woman with 2 kids. What isn't right is telling a married woman to go after what she wants. She responds, I hope you're listening, Juan. I hope you're listening, Jen. She responds, I'm not arguing that. As in, I'm not saying that what you're saying Juan did isn't true. Because it is true. It is true that Juan is fucking around with a woman with 2 kids, and Juan is telling a married woman to go after what she wants. So don't come at me, Juan. Come at Jen for just saying she's not going to argue those points because she knows they are true. Because I know and she knows she said it to me. So if you didn't say it, Juan, then you need to take that up with Jen, not me. I said, what isn't right is still flirting with a married woman. Sorry, phone call coming in. Can't talk right now. I'm on the show. What isn't right is still flirting with a married woman when you know her and her husband are now struggling and she's trying to figure shit out. Me sharing what he did and how it hurt me is right. No, it isn't. None of it is right. 2 wrongs don't make a right. Blasting this on the podcast doesn't undo what happened. Again, no argument from Jen, no argument, Juan, that what I'm saying right now isn't true. She is saying that me sharing what you did, the only thing she's disagreeing with me is that me sharing what you did and how it hurt me is right. She's saying, no, it isn't right that you're sharing what he did to you, and none of it is right. 2 wrongs, that means you're wrong, Juan, and my hurt what she believes to be wrong do not make one right. So again, Juan, do not come after me. This is Jen confirming to me and to you and to the world now that she wanted to take me to court and file this false domestic violence police report. Now it's out in the open. All of it is out in the open. I'm going to read text messages, and I'm going to read all kinds of different things. Blasting this on the podcast doesn't undo what happened. As in, telling the truth, telling what happened doesn't undo what happened. Basically, Juan, she's right. Me telling you and the world what you guys did and how you guys hurt me, that isn't going to undo what any of you did. That's the only right thing she said in that statement. I said, you know how you don't end up on podcast with someone saying they're in a lot of pain because you fucked around with his wife? You know how you stay away from that? You don't fuck with other people's wives. Like I said, look, I said I'm done. I've wasted enough time and energy arguing with you. I'm again trying to end this conversation, and the person who's emotionally scared and emotionally distressed and fears for her life and fears of me and everything else comes back with, Chris, please, tell me what I need to do. I said everyone involved needs to stop being fucking shitty people, or stop being shitty fucking people. They should focus on why they're a shitty fucking person. Juan needs help for being a shitbag. Your friend needs help for being a shitbag, and you need help with why you're a shitbag sometimes. My pain is real, my pain is valid, and they played a major part in my pain. They didn't fucking consider me once. They gave two shits about me. Once again, everything I said, she responds, blasting them on a podcast doesn't fix that. Not that I'm lying, not that I'm not telling the truth, not that none of what you just said, Chris, is true, and you blasting lies isn't real. She just says everything I mentioned on the podcast and everything I mentioned here in these text messages doesn't fix them. Sharing my pain fixes me, I responded. Sharing my pain gives me a voice. Sharing my pain gives me strength. Share your pain, she says. Slandering others doesn't fix your pain. And here's where you and Juan and everybody else needs to learn what the word slander means. Slander doesn't mean exposing everybody's stories and talking shit about them, about what they did to you and everything else. Slandering is telling lies on the broadcast and having that lie be called out. And you have to prove that I've lied. And so far, throughout this entire text message, you have not once said anything to say I was lying. In fact, you've confirmed multiple times that what I'm saying is not only true, but that it doesn't fix what happened. I said sharing my pain lets the world know I'm not just some crazy loser who can't get over a girl. And then I responded as well, I slandered no one. I told the truth. I said exactly what was said by them. Okay, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm sorry you're hurting. I really am. I said exactly what is done. You're not. I said exactly what was done. You're really not. As in, you're not really sorry for hurting me. She says, but it has to be taken down. I want to do this like adults. Whew, that one's a doozy. You mean handle it like adults, like going down to the courthouse and filing a false domestic violence injunction because you can't handle your shame and you can't handle your guilt? Because without this episode, you wouldn't be texting me, is what I said. She said, you're right, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm sorry, you're hurting, and I'm sorry for all of that. At the end of the day, it doesn't fix anything. All it does is hurt me, alienates me. If that's your end goal, fine. I'll deal with it. The person who is emotionally distressed by my podcast, the person who is fearful of her life because of my podcast, and all of these other things she said in that domestic violence, that false domestic violence injunction, that's weird. You've now twice given me permission to say what you did to me on this podcast. And here you are in front of a judge and in a sworn written statement, which you swore was the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Here you are saying one thing on one hand and another thing to me. I said, Jen, it helps me and it helps other people. More people have messaged me telling me, my God, the same thing happened to me, and I'm so encouraged by your strength. That is my end game. And here we go again. Everybody listening, everybody who thinks that I slandered her name or that I'm stretching the truth or lying, she said, the details of what happened doesn't help others. Not the lies, not the name calling, not the shitbaggeriness, not calling her a cheater on false pretenses, nothing. She said the details of what happened, of what I did, doesn't help others. I don't give a shit about any of you anymore. Where you three are now is you're terrible fucking people. She responds, "It fucks me over." I said, "Yes, it does. It lets people know why I hurt so bad." "Oh, so fuck me over, don't..." She goes, "Okay, so fuck me over. Don't fuck over everyone else." Again, the person who was in court today, the person who 2 days after texting this says she's emotionally distressed and emotionally anguished and fears for her life from me and her son's life from me, is telling me once again, fuck her over on this podcast. Don't fuck over everybody else. I said, it lets them know they're not the only ones who can get fucked over that way. Chris, please. Jen, you three fucked yourselves over. Don't be shitty people, period. Okay, I'm sorry this is how it all went down. I didn't make your friend flirt with her ex and tell you it's okay to flirt with Juan, or that you shouldn't be with me the second you went to her. I didn't make her do that. She did that all on her own. And then get this. So if the friend wants to come to me and say I'm slandering her name and telling stories that isn't true, you once again need to go to Jen, not to me. Jen said, she sent like 2 text messages. You exploited her. Juan didn't hunt me. I fucked up with Juan, and I never slept with him. Let's break this down a little bit. 1, she is confirming that what I said about her friend texting her ex and having an emotional cheating relationship with him is true. She's trying to water it down by saying like 2 messages. Whatever. 1 message, 2 message, 5 messages. That is not what I'm exploiting. Yes, I call her a shitbag for doing that. Because even just sending 2 messages to your ex telling him you miss him and everything else, that's shitbaggery. Like, nobody wants to see that. No husband wants their wife to go text their ex-boyfriend one thing, or ex-husband one thing of like, I miss you or anything like that. That is shitheadedness. And you need to go figure out why you're doing that. But what happened is I didn't exploit those 2 messages. She exploited those 2 messages by telling you that because she did that, whether it's 2 messages, 5 messages, 100 messages, she exploited it herself to tell you that what you're doing with Juan is okay, and that is what hurt me. I don't care that she's, text messaging her ex or whatever. That's between her and her husband. All I said was just I feel sorry for him, and that is shitbaggery. That's my opinion on it. I have a right to that opinion. And she exploited it to have you feel like it's okay to text Juan. And then there's another thing that I want you to see here, and I'm going to teach you guys a little bit of how to read people and read into things. It's a lot of things about what you say and what you don't say. I fucked up with Juan, and I never slept with him. So it's all about what she said. It's not what she didn't say. Now, we can infer what that means, but she basically, since she's the liar a lot of the times, she's trying to say a truth without saying anything else, without admitting to anything else. I said, I didn't make Juan slide into your DMs. I didn't make Juan tell you some bullshit story about him and his wife. I didn't make Juan flirt with you. I didn't make Juan make out with you the second you dropped me like a piece of shit. Juan did that shit all on his own. He fucked himself over. I don't care. I really don't. This is my story. This is what you 3 did to me. Those were the choices you made. Okay. Fucking live with them. Then she says, the person who is emotionally distraught, emotionally distressed, fearful of her life says, hopefully you're okay with it getting messy then. Not a threat. Was just hoping to reason with you. And then 2 days later, what is Jen doing after all of this? She is filing a false domestic violence injunction. And I hope you can hear my anger, because I am. Like, who wouldn't be? Who fucking does this to people? Who acts this way? Who is this childish? You fucked up. Be an adult and own up to it. Don't go and try and ruin me to save your face. I said, if you want to make it messy and that's how you want to deal with it, fine. Like I said in the show, you should focus your energy on becoming a fucking moral and caring and kind human being, not this selfish shitbag that only cares about herself and no one else. There's nothing you can do to me in the future that's anywhere remotely as bad as what you did to me in the past. I am working on that. I am numb to your bullshit. She says, okay. I said, no, you're not. You can't even be honest with yourself about how shitty of a fucking person you are and how you still blame everything on me. How I'm not right for you when all I did was fucking care for you better than any man has ever been any woman has ever been cared for. And our relationship ended because you're the shitty selfish person who can't be happy in life, and you blame others for your shittiness. So you can make it messy, which just proves the only reason you're messaging me is for more selfish reasons, because Jen doesn't do anything for anyone unless it benefits her. Or you can schedule the appointment because you're honestly sorry for the shit you did, and becoming a better person actually fucking matters to you. Because you know what people who actually want to become better people don't do? They don't threaten to make shit messy to get what they want, and they don't threaten to continue to ruin another person's life any way they can, because that person expressed his hurt and pain caused by others' choices. I told you guys in 2005, I once stood up for myself and in a less classier way than what I did now, but made a post about what happened to me as a kid, and that person hunted me down and kicked my ass. And I was an actual domestic violence victim. I was an actual person that needed to go down with an actual reason to a domestic injunction hearing and file a domestic violence injunction with actual reasoning for it. And as a domestic violence victim, and all of you out there who are also domestic violence victims listening to this, you are probably sick to your stomach listening to this. Because this right here is why so many people do not listen to real victims. Because of people like Jen. If you are this person, if you are doing this, understand how fucked up you are. And if you know people in your life who are like this, tell them they are fucked up. Because there are women and men and children who are right now trying to say, this person hurt me, this person did this to me, this person did that to me, and other people say, well, you're just making it up, just like that story I heard on that podcast. And do not use Jen as an example, because she is few and far between. People like Jen are in an extreme minority. It's just because the nation is so big and there's 351 million people, 1% seems like a whole heck of a lot. But she is the minority. And this is what's wrong with this right now. She is upset. She is angry. She is ashamed. She is guilty. She is feeling so much, I don't know what. And instead of just doing what I told her to do, she had 3 options after our conversation. And it's not done. I'm not done yet, but I just need to take a break here with this. She had 3 options leaving that conversation on Wednesday. She could have scheduled that appointment and shown that she really meant that she was sorry and that she wasn't trying to manipulate me to get me to take the podcast down, but that she actually was a fucking human being for 5 goddamn minutes and say, I am really sorry, and I actually do, Chris, want to become a decent human being, and I actually do, Chris, want to right every single wrong that I just admitted right here to doing, and I actually care about you as a person. She could have done that. She could have also said, damn it, he's not taking it down. I tried. That's it. It's over with. I'm going to move on, and hopefully, this blows over. Hopefully I can just explain to people that he's lying. Hopefully I can just, tell people that, yeah, I did fuck up, but he's blowing it way out of proportion, and people would leave it at that. Those would have been your 2 healthy choices right there. The first one being your healthiest choice, because again, there's not a single religion, there's not a single NAAA, there's not a single therapist that isn't going to tell you that the best way to get over regret and the best way to get over your shame and your guilt and your disgustingness that you did to other people and the way that you hurt them is to try to get forgiveness from that person and let them know that you fucked up. That is the ultimate healthy way, and I don't give a crap what anybody else says. Or you could have done the unhealthy thing, which is not get help, or at least continue to lie to yourself and lie to others, and it's not exactly that healthy, but it's a lot better than the option you went with, and that's option 3. That's option 3 of going down to a courthouse, knowing damn well I've never been a threat to you, knowing damn well I've never been a threat to anybody, including your son. And I'm sorry that I keep talking to you. I know you're not listening. And I know the judge said that, even though she can't stop me from talking to you through the podcast, but I know it looks bad. I just don't know how else to word it. I just don't. Either way, you made the wrong mistake. You made the most unhealthy choice. I had to spend a week, guys, a week after finding out she filed this domestic violence report with high anxiety and a new loop. The old loop was dead, and she created a new loop in my mind of me just worrying about what the hell is going to happen. I went through 15 million different scenarios in the courtroom of how it's going to go down. And then the worst part is I had to sit here and live with just checking over my shoulder the whole time. Sunday, I went down to the gym on Sunday morning, and sometimes she goes to the gym that I go to on my side of town because there's fans over the treadmills. And I walked in and I realized, shoot, it's Sunday and she might be here. And I broke down. And I feared for my life. I feared what she might say. I fear what she might make up. I fear what she might drum up, what lies she could drum up if she saw me. Because here she is lying to the judge, and she's lying in her court papers, and I don't know what she's capable of anymore. I don't know. And now I have an added wall to relationships in the future. Because right now, I don't fucking trust anybody. This whole incident has been a new trauma for me. Because of all the things she said. Chris, I love you. Chris, I'm not going anywhere. Chris, I'm going to be hard to get rid of. Chris, you're amazing. Chris, you're the best. I don't know how I'm supposed to believe anybody anymore right now who says anything nice about me, because I feel like they're going to be just like Jen, that she's only saying things to manipulate me and to get what she wants out of me. And then when she's done using me, she throws me away like garbage. And when I try to stand up for myself, she accuses me falsely of domestic violence or a threat of domestic violence. This is your friend, running community. This is who you guys cheer. This is who you guys like and support. This is who you take selfies with. Is a woman who, when she doesn't get what she wants and when she's ashamed, she will do whatever it takes at whatever cost to somebody else to make sure she gets her way. And the fact that, again, she's going to do it to such a disgusting descent of, I'm going to falsely accuse somebody of domestic violence, and I'm going to falsely say that I'm a sympathetic figure who is scared for my life, even though I multiple times in here have made contact with Chris, has argued with Chris, told Chris to do whatever he wants to me, just don't fucking hurt Juan and my friend. Don't be this person. Don't hang out with this person. You desperately need to tell this person to get help. If you know someone like this, they need fucking help. This is just bananas. This is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. How did I end up here? How did I go from January 9th going to this courthouse with this woman and marrying her and having her tell me that she's going to do everything she can to make this work and to make this happen, no matter what, she's going to be there, that we're in it for the long haul, that we're never going to get divorced unless we absolutely do everything in our power to not do it. How do I go from there to walking in that courthouse almost 7 months later with her falsely accusing me of domestic violence or of being a domestic violent threat to her and her son, whom I love tremendously? How does that happen? And why does that have to happen? I don't understand. I don't understand what I did to you. I don't understand what I've done to the running community for you guys to not stand up for me and say, you need to stop, Jen. You are going off the rails. Go get help. Or get out of our damn community. Seriously, somebody help me out here. Tell me what I did. Tell me why giving her hour-long massages on a massage table every so often, like, why does that deserve that? Tell me how showing up to her race in December, as she's one of the only 2 women to complete a Ragnar 130-mile ultra team race, how I surprise her and run with her and sleep in a car and get up in the morning and support her and cheer her on. Tell me why I deserve this. Tell me why running a 50-mile race with her to show her I love her and support her. Tell me why that doesn't come into her mind when she's fucking accusing me of domestic violence. Did I fuck up? Yes. Did I leave fucking eggs on the side of a pan and didn't wash it correctly? Of course I did. Was I sometimes messy? Did I sometimes play video games all day and all I did was nothing but that and didn't clean like I said I was? Yes. But I didn't deserve to be cheated on. I didn't deserve to be left. And I certainly don't deserve to be accused of domestic violence. It is not okay. I was good to her. And it is for nothing. Because Juan and her friend are more important to protect than me. The guy who's carried her out twice as she's drunk and vomiting all over herself and people are looking at her. The person who sat next to her at the bedside and waited in hospital rooms all day while she was having multiple surgeries throughout the entire 3 times and then waiting on her hand and foot whether she had the surgery or she was completely fine. And then comes this. The person who she's afraid of, the person who she feels she's in danger of, and the person who's so unstable that he's suicidal and can't be trusted and has mental health issues. Then this happens in the following conversation. Her response after my last one, where do people go to be Baker acted? I said, do you need to be Baker acted? She said, I'm just asking. I said, tell me why, and I'll give you the advice you need. I don't know. I'm just wondering. I said, are you feeling suicidal? She typed in all caps, I don't know. I said, I'm going to call you in 5 minutes, and I'm only going to talk to you about your suicidal thoughts. No, I can't talk. And I said, tell me what you're thinking about right now. I'm not strong enough to handle it all, so it'll be better for me. So it'll make it better for me. I said, I understand that thought. I understand that lie. It is not a lie. I said, trust me, that's where I was April 6th. It is a lie. She says that I'm not mentally strong enough? No, it's the truth. I can't face it all. I said, no, you're right, you're not. Not yet, but you can be. She says, says who? I said, says this amazing woman that lives deep inside of you that can overcome tough obstacles when she actually wants to. I don't know about that. I said, I do. I've seen it so many times. I cheered that woman on. That woman inspired me. That woman made me a better person. And don't take this the wrong way. Please, I'm not trying to insult you. I'm just speaking the truth you and I both know. Your son needs you. You cannot leave him alone with Jackass. You have to be strong for him. Little America needs you. I know you've decided to leave him and you hurt him a lot, but I will forever hope one day you will come to your senses and be back in his life. And that can never happen if you take your life. I said, Jen, don't stop talking. Share every dark thought you have right now. She said, I'm at the dentist. Not sure where I'm gonna go from here. I said, talk to me then. Let your dark thoughts out. Trust me, it helps. She says, I don't want to talk. I just want it to end. I said, talking will help, I promise. I've been there. I've been where you're at. I've been where you are more times than I can count. I know what it's like to have the pain hurt so bad you just want to die. She said, I just don't want to face the people that entrusted me and now are fucked. I don't want to deal with any of it. I just want it all to end. I said, Jen, those people have no one to blame but themselves. They are terrible people. Instead of being mad at you, they should be mad at themselves, and they should go get help. She said, they won't see it that way, so I'd rather not be there to face them. I said, so then don't face them. You ghosted me, and you ghosted your best friend without blinking an eye, and we were actually people who care about you. These people don't care about you. They care about what they get from you. If Juan cared about you, he would have said, you need to go figure your life out. I don't want to see you hurt and or ruin your family. But he didn't because he doesn't give a shit about you. He only cares about himself and himself only. He's a selfish shitbag. Your friend, she doesn't care about you. If she did, she would have told you to take a time out, go get help, and think about Landon and Nicholas. And think about Landon, your son, and me, because we all love you and care about you. If Chris isn't right for you, then take your time to figure that out. Instead, she was just glad she wasn't the only one sneaking behind her husband's back, and for whatever reason I will never understand, she didn't want you to be with me, even though I've done nothing but shown you and everyone else how good I am to you and your son. Whether I came out with this episode or not, their shit would have come out eventually. It's what happens when you are a shitty person. You hide, and you hide, and you hide, and then eventually it all comes out. She says, I will have to deal with them. And I don't want to, and I'm not going to. Why? Like I said, you ghosted me and your friend without any second thought. End of my story. I said, you kicked us straight to the curb like it didn't fucking matter. So what are you going to do? She says, I don't know yet. I said, where are you now? Dentist. I said, okay, then what do you want to do? She says, I want it all to end. How? I don't know. What are your options? I don't know. I want a hug from my kid and for him to tell me it's going to be okay, but I can't even do that. I said, I know. Sad emoji. And in that instance, I thought, and it's stupid because it would have been not good for Landon, but I thought maybe him and I can go over there and Landon can give her a hug and tell her it's going to be okay. That if she can't get it from her son, maybe she can get it from Landon. Here I am still caring about her. Here I am still trying to comfort her as she's having suicidal thoughts or alluding to having suicidal thoughts. She says, I want everyone to go back to their own lives and be peaceful. I don't want conflict. I just want it all to end. I said, okay. And if the conflict doesn't end, then what? She says, then I end it. I said, how? I don't fucking know. Dentist time. And I said, okay, promise me you'll text me when you're done, please. When you get back into your car, please listen to this song. I sent her the OTEP beautiful or perfectly flawed song. And I said, and read the lyrics before you go anywhere and then call me. And then I tried calling her because she didn't respond for like an hour. And so I said, please answer so I know you're okay. I don't have to call the cops to do a well-being check on you. She goes, I'm here. And I said, pick up, please. She says, I don't want to talk. And I said, just talk to me for 5 minutes. I need to know where your head is at. It's attached to my body. I just want to be left alone. I said, Jen, pick up so I can talk to you. I don't want to send cops to talk to you. She says, I have nothing to say. I don't need cops. I said, if you need to be Baker acted, I found out where the best place to go is. She says, please send that to me just in case. I said, call me. She said, never mind. I said, Jen, seriously, call me or I'm calling the cops. That's not a threat. That's a serious concern. She said, I'm fine. And then she said, call me. And I said, then call me. And she said, okay. And then we finally talked on the phone. And right away, I'm not going to sit here and claim that all of that was a ruse to manipulate me, to try to get me to take it down. But there was no longer a suicidal person on the other line. It was just an angry, bitter, spiteful person who just wanted to rip into me some more and argue with me about Juan and argue with me about her friend and argue with me about how wrong I am and how in the 3 years she couldn't understand how she didn't know how crazy I was and blah, blah, blah. So finally, she hung up on me because we were just arguing back and forth. And I sent her the information for where she can go for a Baker Act. And I said, in case you need it, mail me the divorce papers, please. Don't contact me again unless you need help because you're suicidal or you need to know what day to schedule the appointment for a marriage counselor to talk this out. I'm tired of the circles. All three of you fucked up. Deal with it. My hurt is my hurt. They all fucking hurt me. Yes, I mentioned his business. I'm fucking human. You're vindictive. It's bullshit. I wish you'd say that. I'm not. I get you're hurt. There are better ways to deal with it. You are. Mentioning his business, that's vindictive. And I wish you fought this fucking hard. This is what I said. And I wish you fought this fucking hard not to hurt Landon and I, but you didn't. Pulling my other friend into it. You guys are fucking toxic. Every one of you. And then she said, and you painted yourself as the most amazing thing since sliced bread in this podcast. You've come a long-ass way since we've first met. You weren't a very involved parent the first few years, but you go on no problem lying about that too. So listen, this is the one time she's claimed that I'm lying. You notice that? All the other times, no, Chris, you're lying. She's saying that I'm lying about being a good father. If you listen to my podcast, you'd know I'd own up to not being an involved parent. If you listened, I said I've been a shitbag in the past, and I didn't like being a shitbag, so I admitted to myself I was a shitbag, and I did what I needed to do to better myself, so I wasn't a shitbag. And it's fucked up. I'm the one. I said, this is seriously my last text message. Do not contact me ever again unless you need help. You've made an appointment with a marriage counselor without any stipulations about the podcast, or so we can figure out our furniture and my shit when I finally buy a house. I'm over the bullshit up and down. I'm sorry. No, now I'm going to tear you down again. I'm over it. Stop fucking with me. It's fucked up. I'm the one who still genuinely cares about you as a person to actually talk you through suicidal thoughts. And you still talk to me like I'm a piece of shit because you're upset and that's what you do. Get honest help and leave me the fuck alone until you've truly owned up to your bullshit and changed. And then 2 days later, she files that domestic violence injunction against me. And the judge looked at her. She made no claims of me threatening her, nothing. Just that the podcast really bothered her, and it made her emotionally distressed and all this stuff. Do you know who was the only person she admitted, or the only people she admitted to giving her emotional stress? It wasn't me. Multiple times, she said I can drag her name for the mud. She said I could fuck her over. She said I could say anything I want about her. The only people causing her emotional distress are Juan and her friend. They're the ones that she says multiple times that she doesn't want to face them. And what's fucked up is she fucking screwed me over. You guys heard it in the loop, and if you haven't listened to my battle with the mental loop, you can get all the juicy details there. And yet, I'm the one that did nothing wrong to her. She did everything wrong to me, and she has not once given me an ounce of respect to not hurt me, including this week. And yet, here are two shitbag people who, one, has done absolutely nothing for her. One's not over there throwing in the football with her son. One's not over there telling her to go to sleep while she has a headache so she can and he can take care of the son, or she can go lay down while he cooks dinner and washes dishes. Juan didn't show up to her races and run 50-mile races with her. Juan doesn't do any of that stuff. Juan didn't drive 45 minutes to an hour to take her son to his football game in the rain, even though it was probably canceled, but we're going to go check anyways. While she's at a fucking race, Juan doesn't do any of that shit, yet Juan is the one that she's worried about hurting, and Juan is the one she's distressed about, and Juan is the one she's worried about protecting. She's not worried about protecting Landon. She's not worried about protecting me. She's worried about protecting her friend and protecting Juan. Think about that as a person. She's not worried about protecting a 10-year-old's heart. God, I wish she worked this hard to protect my son's heart. My son is crawled up in a bed at night crying himself to sleep. My son is scrolling through text messages to see what she's doing, and she's going to tell me that trying to get back into his life isn't healthy for her. But yet when Juan wants her, or when they get together and they say, what can we do? And they come up with a plan to say, I know, I'm going to go get a domestic violence injunction against Chris. Even though it's bullshit, I'm still going to try. She's going to do that unhealthy thing. It is unhealthy to claim somebody fucking is a domestic violence threat to you when they're not even close to it. And you know that they're not, and you're remotely lying about it. That is what is unhealthy. So stop telling other people what is healthy and unhealthy, because you don't fucking know. And so now I'll get to the spoiler alert. She mentioned that there was a complaint filed with Apple, and about a few hours after she filed her thing, there was a complaint filed with Apple. But it wasn't Jen. Nope. No, it wasn't by Jen. It was by, you guessed it. Oh, here, I'll do this. Where is it? All right, I got to pull it up. We get an email from Apple. I'm trying to find it. I got so many screenshots because I had to screenshot all of her text messages to me to print them out for court. Wasted my time because her thing was ridiculous and I didn't even get to present them. I really wanted to submit them into court so that way it'd be under court records, which, by the way, she's lucky. She's lucky I didn't get to present my evidence of her lying, because she would either at worst been held in contempt of court and been thrown in jail for the day, or at best she would have gotten her ass chewed out for coming down there and filing a false criminal injunction or a domestic violence injunction against somebody. So then Apple Podcast emails us. Dear podcaster, we have received a notice that your podcast may be infringing the rights of the running elements. Please contact the complainant CC'd on this message regarding this matter. If you fail to respond in 5 business days, we'll take this down. And so we responded, Good evening, Juan. We received this complaint through Apple and would like to get some clarification on which specific rights have been infringed upon. I look forward to your response. Thank you, Scout Team Radio. And then Juan responds, let me pull that back up. Just trying to clear this up nice and easy without having to get attorneys involved. Oh no. The comments made in several of these podcasts are slanderous towards myself, my family, and my business and have no facts to back them. I'd happy to continue this conversation if you'd like, but I think you know what I'm talking about. Please let me know how we can resolve this as soon as possible. Regards, Juan, from the Running Elements store. So, I responded back, and I emailed iTunes with him CC'd on it, and I said, to whom it may be concerned. We have tried to resolve this issue with the complainant, but the person complaining has now twice been extremely vague in his complaint, saying things like infringing on their rights, but I think you know what I'm talking about. We also do not take lightly serious accusations of slander from this individual without providing any specific details or evidence to this accusation. The also adage of intimidation of having to get attorneys involved without again providing any specific complaint has caused us to turn to Apple to mediate with this complaint. The Battle Inside podcast is an autobiographical podcast where the host shares his life story, things that happened to him, and the people that have come into his life. In the episode in question, the host quoted Facebook messages between Juan, the complainant, and a Ms. Jennifer, which we have copies of. He also quoted Ms. Jennifer and the host text messages where they discussed Juan and conversations between the host and Ms. Jennifer. The host also cited information given to him by a reliable source with direct intimate knowledge of Ms. Jennifer and Juan. The host then went on to express his thoughts, opinions, and emotions of Juan based on the information he knows to be true. The host reserves the right to express his thoughts, feelings, and opinions based on the information he has gathered, either through, again, text messages, which we have copies of, and sources like Ms. Jennifer. We would again like to have Juan be more specific in his complaint, or if he has evidence to prove that the text messages and information our host gathered were not given to him by those mentioned. If Ms. Jennifer has lied to our host about the issues discussed about Juan on our show, then we suggest Juan take that up with Ms. Jennifer. For now, our host believes Ms. Jennifer to be a credible source on the facts discussed in this podcast. We will review any specific items Juan wishes to complain about and check our sources of information. If our sources of information disputes Juan's claims, then we reserve the right to stick to our sources and reserve the right to share and report what we know and give our opinions on them. We hope Apple also agrees with our First Amendment rights to report facts that we have gathered and express our opinions, thoughts, and feelings on them. Thank you for your time. All right, so remember how I said she mentioned that there was going to be a complaint filed with Apple? And then, spoiler alert, oh my God, nobody's surprised, nobody saw that coming. Juan is the one who files the complaint, which means Juan and Jennifer are in each other's ear and discussing this with them. And I'm just going to say this. The reality is Jen's life has spiraled completely out of control ever since she met Juan. Jen right now, had she either never met Juan or had she said, my marriage is important to me and I'm going to go get help and I'm going to work on my marriage and I'm going to tell this loser to fuck off, she could be enjoying her summer with me. We could probably be going sailing tomorrow. Her son could have somebody to play with at the house, and him and Landon could be playing with each other, and they'd have something to do, rather than her dragging him to races, I'm sure, which he does not like going to. But you know Jen, she can't miss a race, and she'll force her son to do it because it's all about her. And anyways, she could be doing lots of good things, lots of fun things. Instead, she's in a courtroom filing a false domestic violence dispute or domestic violence injunction because she's ashamed that she was a cheater emotionally. She's ashamed that she left her husband to chase a married man. She's ashamed that she told me that the married man was in an open relationship and that his wife is okay with it, which I still can't verify. But she did say that. That is what she said. That is the fact. She said that, and I have text messages to prove it. And now she can't live with the fact that I'm the one standing up for myself. She can't live with the fact that I'm the one voicing out my hurt and pain and traumas like I have the right to do as a victim, I have a right to do as a person in pain, and I have a right to do as someone who just needs to vent and let it out, as all of you should. Every single bad decision she has made, Juan has been in her ear. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Juan is making her do all these things. No, Jennifer is an adult. She's a 34-year-old woman, even though she's acting like a 17-year-old. Even up to today. This is what 17-year-old girls do when they don't get their way. They throw temper tantrums and hissy fits, and they make up lies to try to get their way. And that's what Jennifer is right now. But there are those who bring out the best in us, right? There are those in your life who bring out the best in you, and there's also those who bring out the worst in you. And that is what Juan has been in her entire life. And I don't even understand why either of them want each other in their lives anymore. Because if I was one or the other, I'd finally cut tail and run and say, this is not worth it. And you need to go. Anybody who's in these people's lives, like, this is who they are. They are people who cheat and lie and sneak around and backstab and do whatever they can. And then when they get caught, they attack the person that they hurt. Because they can't handle the pain and the shame and the guilt that was given unto them. And so instead of trying to make it right with the person that they hurt, they continue to hurt the person that they hurt even worse. They continue to find ways to selfishly make sure that that person continues to hurt because they're not man enough or woman enough to handle the hurt themselves. These are engineers. This is why Jen left me, because I don't have a college degree. But these two people with engineering degrees, and Jen has a master's degree, and he has his own business, which is called The Running Elements, which, by the way, Juan, just so you know, this is the United States of America, and you are a business owner in something called the free market. When a business owner or business has shady, shitty practices that somebody who has a broadcasting voice finds out, it is their right to report that and say it. I have the right to tell other consumers as a consumer as myself to say, this is what the business owner of Running Elements is doing, and it is not okay. And so you want some text messages. You want some proof because you said there's no proof. There's no text messages. Everything I said about you directly, what you said, I have text messages of. And I'm referring to, of course, the screenshots I have of yours and Jen's Facebook messages. And I will read. Juan says, told her about our chat. Jen says, what all did you tell her? How did she react? No details. I'm in an open relationship, but no details, just that we'd been chatting. And she said, just let you know, he said, but she said, have fun, chat away. She did immediately go after the people are going to talk with the hand to the palm on the face emoji, but that's who she is. Talk about what? Okay, gym time, I'll be back sweatier. Jen responds, damn, I want that. Have fun and chat away. I feel like I should be able to do that. Glad she was okay with it. Have fun. Then Juan asks, does he chat with people? Maybe we introduce the two of them. Winky face. No, he doesn't at all. Thank you, Jen, for at least sticking up for me there. And then he says, you with me? She says, no, fucking I-4. Stupid autocorrect. But I'm heading home. I have to deal with shit. I'll message you tomorrow. These are the messages, again, that she deleted. And these are also the time that she said that she would, she told him to fuck off. So not only is she lying to me, but she's also planning on talking to him the next day. And he says, ha, drive safe. And he says, that way you can focus on work too, Jen says, with a winky face. And he says, tomorrow, with a, like, I don't know, what is that little, like, hey face, and then the sad face. And he said, fine, good luck. And she says, I'm sorry, don't hate me. And he says, you can make it up to me. Then she says, deal. Now stop texting me, laugh emoji, laugh out loud. He sends zipper face saying, my lips are shut. And she said, sad but true. So Juan already knows by showing that he can't talk to her because she's almost home and that she has shit to deal with. Juan, you're showing that you know that she's not supposed to be fucking talking to you and that there's a problem in the relationship. One of the Running Elements owner, or the owner of the Running Elements, is willing to know that something is going on and have a married woman with 2 kids tell her to stop texting him while she's at home to deal with the shit that she has to with her husband. And his response is, ha, talk to you tomorrow. And don't text me. Ooh, don't worry about me, girl. I will make sure you don't get caught. That is who Juan, the business owner of the Running Elements, is. So if you want, you send your wife to a guy who is willing to sneak around with her and make sure he doesn't get into her getting caught talking to him. He's willing to go that extra mile. That is the extra mile service that Juan is willing to give your wife, because Juan is a selfish asshole. And he's a shitty business owner with shitty business practices. I would not send my wife or anybody to a shitbag like that. To a shitbag who hears that there's trouble and that he's going to keep his mouth shut and make sure that, yes, he's still going to be around, but he's going to make sure that she gets to sneak around to talk to him. That is who Juan is. And so when I said, can I get into your messages or whatever, or she sent me the screenshot, Jen asked, hey, do you have copies of all our messages? And he says, question mark, why? Question mark. But no, sorry, I don't save old chats. Takes up too much room on my phone. But that's an interesting request. Everything okay? Here's the thing, everybody. Deleting text messages for space is not a thing. Especially one that's supposedly only 3 days old. It's not a thing. You delete videos, you delete podcasts that you've downloaded, you delete photos. Deleting messages, especially on Facebook Messenger for space, is not a thing. God, you guys are fucking idiots. Both of you. You guys have engineering degrees and this is the best shit you come up with? And then he says, I'll take your request in silence as a no. Not sure what's going on. I don't want to cause problems. We're just starting to get to try to know each other. Maybe we try and set up a double date or dinner all together one night, just to get to know each other as friends. We've never really had a chance to do that. So here he is still trying to set me up with his wife, or trying to get me to be comfortable with his wife. And then there's this. Hold on, let me find it. So then there was a message that when the friend that Jen totally trashed away because she was telling her what she was doing is wrong and not okay and that she shouldn't be doing it, this is what Jen had to say to her. And again, Juan, you're saying that I'm slandering your name, which means I'm lying, which means I'm not telling the truth. Nowhere did I say you said that you have an open relationship. Nowhere in the podcast did I say that you said that your wife knows about it. All I said was that Jen said it. And here I have text message of Jen saying it not only to me, but also to her good friend. Okay, so now that I've had a chance to process, first off, I really haven't done much wrong. Harmless flirting with a married guy in an open relationship, especially where his wife knows, isn't exactly something to sound the alarms about. I get that you're going to relate to Chris because of the mental illness connection, but to meet with him and then feel the need to tell him that I'm being destructive to my family and to my son is extremely judgmental and not fair. Like I said, clearly I can't share my life with you without fear of being judged. Yes, I'm all for speaking your mind and sharing if you think I'm making a bad decision, but basically to say that we have to drift apart and we have to drift apart and we can't be friends is really sad. I'm sad it came to that. But honestly, I'm a big girl who can make decisions for myself, and I don't need judgment from or to be looked down upon by anyone, especially those considered to be my closest friends. Yes, Jen, flirting with a guy, having a guy tell you that, chase after what you want, leaving your husband, and then doing what you can to go make out with him directly afterwards is just harmless flirting. And then, did you hear that, Juan? Loose lips sinks ships. Okay? So go tell your attorneys that when they listen to the tape to know that Jen, the person you're fucking around with, or at least Jen says that she's fucking around with you, let them know that that's where it came from, and your lawyers can go talk to her about slander, and your lawyers can go talk to her about lying, because it's not me. So leave me the fuck alone. Leave my podcast alone. And you're in her ear while she's telling you that she's going to file this fake domestic violence injunction. And once again, Juan, you had a chance. You had a chance before when you saw that things were hitting the fan to say, look, I'm going to take a step back. You got some serious issues that you need to take care of with your husband, and you need to go figure it out. You had once again to have a chance to even be like remotely human being, to say, whoa, Jen, you're going to do what? You're going to file a domestic violence injunction against him? Do not do that. That's too far. Chris doesn't deserve that. I don't feel comfortable with that. I know he's being a fucking douchebag, like spilling all of our business, but that is too far. But you didn't do that, Juan. Instead, you went to go complain to Apple, and you let her go to complain to the judge, and both of you are left with fucking nothing. Other than just looking like you're even shittier than you were before. You let sleeping dogs lie. This would have gone away. You guys would have been known as just fucking asshole cheaters. But a lot of people don't give a shit about that. Clearly, because Jen is still probably running around with a bunch of people. You're probably still getting enough business. And because people, one, don't care. They're like, whatever, everybody cheats. They have that same fucking stupid mentality that Jen has. And that I'm sure you have as well. And so you're going and you're making it worse. Because had you not complained to Apple, and had you not had Jen, or I don't know if you had Jen. I don't know. But you're clearly in her ear because she knows that you're going to complain to Apple. And I just can only assume anybody smart enough can connect the dots to know that you knew she was going to file this domestic violence injunction. And so now both of you are guilty of a woman going down to a courthouse and wasting judges' time and going in front of other people who are real victims. You want to hear something fucked up? The woman before Jen had a real guy who had choked her out a lot, had said he was going to kill her and the family, and all that other shit. Those are real domestic violence victims. And I hope Jen was paying attention to what a real fucking domestic violence victim is like. Honestly. And you don't have to directly contact her. You can contact me and I'll read the emails over the air. Please contact me to let not only Jen know, because hopefully she never listens to this podcast ever again, but to let everybody else know how angry it makes you as a true domestic violence victim. How Juan makes you angry, and how Jen makes you angry, and how anybody else like them who try to manipulate and lie and steal and cheat because they can't handle their own fucking bullshit. It is selfishness to the 10th degree. It is selfish that you took my wife, or at least you fucking hung around until she left, and then you didn't have any problems fucking making out with her, and who knows what else, because all she said is that she didn't sleep with you. That is the only thing she admitted to not doing. And then because your fucking business is in shithole shambles because of your fucking mistakes, because of what you did, you want to go ahead and allow somebody else to fucking try to ruin my name. And try to leave me with the disease and the mark of domestic violence injunction on my life. Both of you and any people like them can go fuck themselves. I am sitting here advocating for real domestic violence victims, and you two shitbags are sitting here making the situation for them worse. You are the epitome of what is fucking wrong with society when it comes to domestic violence and domestic assault and domestic rape. The epitome of it. And then I come to this conclusion that everything Jen has told me these last 2 months are just for sure direct reflections of herself. She told me I have no drive and motivation. Clearly, the only drive and motivation Jen has is to get a degree in college, to get a good job, to run 100-mile races, and to chase after dudes that they want. That is the only drive and motivation Jen has. She has no drive and motivation to be a good person. She has no drive and motivation to deal with her shit when it hits the fan. She has no drive and motivation to say I'm sorry to somebody she royally fucked over. And she has no drive and motivation to try to make that relationship work, or drive and motivation to do what's right by her son, or to do what's right by the people that love her. She just has drive and motivation to do whatever the fuck she wants. And then she says stuff like, I don't know, I'm using the kids as a pawn. No, Jen, you've been using your son as a pawn since I've pretty much known you. But it's gotten increasingly worse these last 2 months. You tell everybody and me that you're doing what's best for your son by leaving me and by keeping me away. There is not a single person in the entire world, including your son, who believes that having the guy who plays football with him, loves him, cares for him, goes to his things, actually goes to his events, watches him get belt promotions, watches him get Cub Scout promotions, watches him go to practice, takes him to practice without you or his own son, that person being out of his life is good for him. No, Jen, the only person that needed me out of his life was you. You're the one that made that decision, not because you thought it was healthy for Jen, but because I was in your way of fucking around with Juan from the Running Elements. And Juan didn't once say, stop and think about your son. Not once. Stop and think about your stepson. Stop and think about your husband. And Jen, you continue to use your kid as a pawn. I'm doing what's best for him. I'm doing what's best for him. I'm doing what's best for him. No, you're not. You're doing whatever the hell you want to do, taking him to races, keeping him away from his brother, whom I'm sure he would love to see. Go ahead, Jen. Do the Ask Your Son challenge. I challenge you right now to say, hey, Chris is coming over with Landon. He's going to throw the football around with you. You guys are going to play Madden just like old times, and watch his fucking face light up, and then tell me you're doing what's best for your son. And then you have the audacity to use your son to get extra sympathy points to try to push this false domestic violence injunction by saying you fear for your son's life from me. Are you kidding me? Are you that low to know that I am 1,000 bajillion gazillion times better than his father ever will be to your son, and have done nothing but loved him and cared for him and supported him and told him how proud I was of him and helped him in any way that I could? Was I perfect? No. But damn it, I was a good fucking father to him. And you're going to tell a judge and you're going to tell the court system that I'm a threat to him? Are you serious? That is how low you are, that you're going to use your son as a pawn because you can't handle the fact that the world knows that you emotionally cheated and that you did whatever you could to keep Juan around. And when I kept saying that he can't, you left me. And if you want proof of that, I have other text messages, and I'm going to bring this one up, and hopefully this is the last one. You said, so I think we can move forward. This is when we were in that week. I'm pretty sure this is the day you're still fucking texting Juan, and then you're going to come home and tell me that, you know, that you're not, that you told him to fuck off, and then you're going to lie to me. You said, so I think we can move forward, or I can move forward, with help, obviously, if you're willing for me to still be friends with Juan. Really? With the caveat that you can read every single message. Yeah, the caveat that I can read every single message that you're going to delete. And if you want to be friends with Juan and his wife, I'm more than cool with that too. I think this whole thing got blown up because I screwed up, but I see him as a friend, as simply a friend that I enjoy, almost a gay best friend. Ha ha ha. I know you don't trust me, but I don't think it's fair to tell him to screw off. I enjoy his friendship. I don't know why, and it's nothing more than that, but I don't want to end the friendship. Yes, I have things to work on, serious things, and we have things to work on as a couple. Yes, Jen, he's almost like a gay best friend that you want to go ahead and leave your husband for, and then the second you get the opportunity, you want to go make out with. Do you see how manipulative she is? And how much balls do you have to delete text messages from a guy, lie about what was said, then finally admit what was said, and then the very next day say, hey, I think we can work on things, and yes, I'll go get help, which she never did. But I'd like to keep this Juan guy around that I deleted text messages. You can read them all if you want, even though I'm just going to delete them. This is what she does. This is what she did on Wednesday. Let me tell Chris what he needs to hear so I can get what I want. And then when I don't get what I want, I'm going to divorce you. Or when I don't get what I want, I'm going to go down and file a false domestic violence report. That is what Jen does. That is what people in your life are probably doing. They are manipulating you, and they're saying things that they want you to hear, with the exception of you giving them what they want. Because I didn't give her that. I said over and over again, no, like, you have to put Juan on hold. You have to put Juan on hold. No, I'm not going to put him on hold. No, I'm not going to put him on hold. There's nothing there between me and Juan. We're just friends. In fact, he's a gay best friend. And then the second you leave me, you're off trying to hook up with him and telling people that it's a fling and all this other stuff. And then you want to say Juan had nothing to do with it. Jen, the reality is you chose the wrong guy. Period. I'm not saying you chose the wrong guy to be with in a relationship, because you're not in a relationship with either one of us. But I'm saying you chose the wrong guy to keep in your life. Because like I said, had you kept me in your life and you chose to get rid of Juan, maybe we wouldn't have worked out. Maybe we wouldn't have been right for each other. But your son would have my son in his life. You would be in my son's life. I would be in your son's life. Your son wouldn't have lost the only father figure that is a true father figure that he's ever had. My son wouldn't be hurting and crying and everything else. I wouldn't be hurting as bad. I'd still need therapy, but I wouldn't be hurting as bad. People wouldn't know that you're a lying, cheating, piece of shit person who sneaks around with another person, a married person's husband, and that you left your husband so you can go chase this other man. People wouldn't have known that. And you would have never had to have gone down and filed a false domestic violence report because you couldn't handle people knowing that. None of that would have happened if you kept me in your life. But you made the piss poor decision to keep Juan in your life. And ever since Juan's been in your life, you have become the most selfish, monstrous, toxic person I have ever met. You started drinking heavily again, which, by the way, I have nothing wrong with drinking, only if it's out of your personality and character. Because Jen went from not drinking at all to like maybe a beer or two here or there to pounding 6 beers that one Sunday right before I found out everything. And I'm assuming, I don't know, I'm not going to assume, but I have my theories of who she was texting and why she was drinking to impress that person. And she's been drinking a lot ever since, and she says she can live her life all she wants. You're right, you can. But when you go from never drinking to drinking heavily all the time or going out to drink all the time, that's you hiding away in the bottle. Period. End of story. Don't care what you have to say, because clearly you know nothing about life. And like I said, I didn't know where the show was going to go. It's more of a rant than anything, giving you guys the update. The truth needed to be heard, and the truth will set me free. I needed the world to know that I'm not a domestic violence person. I needed it to be heard that Jennifer not only filed the report with false pretenses, but lied completely about it, and her text messages show that. You heard them. Just a vindictive person. And that was the other thing. She told me 2 wrongs don't make a right. She told me to think about this person. She told me to think about that person. She told me not to hurt her friend and Juan, that they didn't do anything to deserve it. She told me all that stuff. Told me not to be vindictive, that my vindictiveness is bullshit. And again, this is all just manipulation to just try to get me to take the podcast down. She doesn't believe in not being vindictive. She doesn't believe in not hurting people for no reason at all. Because if she did, and if she was sorry like she was claiming to be sorry, she would have taken that first option I told you about. But instead she didn't. She didn't give a fuck about me. She didn't give a fuck about my reputation and my name by going down and falsely accusing me of domestic violence. Or being a domestic violent threat. So she can protect Juan, and she can protect her friend, and she can protect herself, but she can't protect me. That I'm not supposed to be vindictive, that I'm supposed to take the high road without any sort of concern or thought of her doing that herself. God, she's so fucked up. And so I'm left with a lot of emotions. You heard them all come out. But I want to say this, guys. I stayed strong throughout this entire week. I've gained a lot of confidence over the last 2 months. I've gained a lot of self-worth. And the reason why I fought this hard, a lot of people were saying, Chris, is this healthy for you? Like, shouldn't you just let this go? Let this be. This can't be healthy for you. And to an extent, it's not. I'll tell you what is healthy for me. What's healthy for me is sharing my pain and sharing my traumas and sharing my life experiences on this podcast. That is healthy for me. It has helped me out tremendously, and it's helped others out tremendously, and I'm going to continue doing it. And the part that isn't healthy for me is somebody going down and falsely accusing me of domestic violence or a domestic violent threat. That is not healthy for me. But that's life. And sometimes people do really shitty things, and sometimes people do really fucking disgusting, disturbing things, like go down and file out a false police report, or not a false police report, but a false domestic violence injunction, with the intent of just wanting a podcast to go away, and lie through her teeth about her emotional distress and how she fears for her life and her son. But that part is not healthy for me. What's healthy for me, though, is handling it in stride, not being overwhelmed by emotions. I had a lot of emotions. I had a lot of anxiety. I had a lot of trauma. Like, I cried in the gym locker room when I went in there and I realized she might be there, and my anxiety just went off and said, oh my God, you're going to go to jail. Like, this is the way you're going to have to live your life if this domestic violence injunction goes through. You're going to have to constantly look over your shoulder. At any moment's notice, this liar can just lie and say that you did this, this, and that, and then you're going to go to jail. And this is how you're going to have to live your life from now on, Chris. You're going to have to avoid Lake Mary. You're going to have to avoid here. You're going to have to avoid there, because you cannot risk getting sent to jail. And so I went into the locker room because I was so emotional, and I started crying because I did not want that to be my life. Because I'm not a domestic abuser, and I've never been domestically threatening anybody. And that is about as bad as it got. I had so many emotions, though. They were up, they were down. Like I said, I had a new loop. The loop was just finding out what happened or what's going to happen. And what was my life going to be like after that? What was I going to say on this episode? What could I say on this episode? What is the judge going to say I can and can't say on the episode? Which the judge said, I can't make him not say anything as long as he doesn't threaten you. But I made it through this week because of my therapy. I made it through this week because I've gained strength through talking to you guys. I made it through this week because you guys have strengthened me by supporting me and loving me and showing me that what I'm doing is a good thing. I appreciate all the messages I've gotten so far for this show. I appreciate everybody sticking up for me. I appreciate everybody telling me that my show helps them, and that I am doing a good thing, and that I am doing the right thing, and that somebody who is as selfish as Juan, who does whatever he can to get whatever he wants to anybody he needs to do it to, and somebody like Jen, who does the same exact thing, that all they think about in their perspective is themselves. They care about nobody else but destroying other people's lives around them, as long as the means to the end is them getting something they want, because that is who they are. That is what they've shown themselves to be to me. But I appreciate the support for me to be able to stand up to them. Because like I said, in 2005, I had my ass kicked. I was a victim of domestic violence. And I took my post down, and I said, I'm never going to mention my pain publicly again. I'm just going to shut up and be quiet. So even though I did press charges, even though that person did get the domestic violence injunction against them, they still got what they wanted out of me, and that was for me to shut up and never mention it again. And I did, and I have. But for different reasons now, and we'll explain that later. But I'm in a place now where I'm not going to let Juan, and I'm not going to let Jen try to silence me with their bullying and their intimidation and everything else, because they can't handle someone coming out and telling the world how they hurt them. I said this before in the last episode, and I'll say it to you guys again. Get help. What you have done this week is not going to help you. I wish I could have looked at Jen's face during this court proceeding as the judge told her over and over again, where is the threat? Where is the threat? Like, So you're upset that this podcast, so he's saying things about you, mean things about you on the podcast, so then don't listen. I wish I could look at her face. But I didn't want to look at her because I didn't want any sort of misinterpretation of me trying to like stare her down or to intimidate her. I didn't want any of that. But I wish I could have seen the look on her face. I wish I could have heard or seen all of her text messages once the judge says this is dismissed. There's nothing here. Just stop listening to the podcast if you don't want to hear what he has to say about you. I wish I could have seen the text messages of who she was texting. Was she texting Juan? Was she texting her friend? But I know what it was is that you failed. And I know that feeling you had is, again, that feeling of pouring water into a bucket that has holes in it and expecting it to fill up. And you're getting more and more desperate, and it's sad. When all you have to do is, like I've said millions of times on the show, stop being a shitbag and go get honest help. Attacking me is not going to solve your problems. In fact, they made it worse. Every one of you who is angry and vengeful and doing everything they can to ruin somebody else's life, stop it. It's not healthy for you or for them, and it's not going to work. Like, you need to find healing, and you need to find, your own therapy and to get help to why you hurt other people all the time. Especially if you're getting back at people who hurt you or that you hurt. Why are you trying to get back at people you hurt? That's another thing I don't understand. Like, why are you trying to make the person you hurt their life worse? Like, where is your humanity when you do that? Where is your care? I don't understand. Like, if you fucked up, you fucked up. You sit there and you say all the time, let's do this like adults. Let's be adults. You call me a child all the time. Throughout an entire relationship, you've said, I have acted like a child. And really, that's just another self-reflective thing that you're throwing at me because it's what you see in yourself. You're a child. And you threw your biggest tantrum yet this week. And it's the most disgusting tantrum anybody can throw. And I don't know. I don't know what to say. I got to end this episode, though, because I got to go look at a house. That's everything that's happened this week. I'm hoping my next episode, I don't know when it's going to be. Might be a week or so from now because I'm going to be gone all weekend and have to work 6 days a week next week. So I don't know when I'm going to have time to record another episode or what it's going to be about. Hopefully it's not about shitbags still coming after me. Seriously, if you're a person that's emotionally distressed by domestic violence, get help. Don't be afraid because of people like Jen out there and that people won't believe you. Like I said, people will believe you. Just talk clearly, be strong, and ask for help if you are a true victim of domestic violence. If you're somebody who's thinking about getting back at somebody or trying to get something out of somebody by threatening them with a domestic violence injunction or going to the courthouse and trying to claim stalking or anything else like that, don't do that. Go get help instead, please. It's not right. And you're ruining the chances and you're lessening the chances of real victims from being heard. Because the judges remember it, the lawyers remember it, the talk news shows remember it, and people in there are people in my life that I can't say what happened because I know what their response is going to be. It's going to be that, like, see, can't trust women for nothing. They always lie to get back at men. All these women making these false claims. Go get help instead. And if you know somebody like this, tell them to go get help also, or you're going to leave their life. You do not need to hang out with somebody like that, honestly. There are several domestic violence victims in the running community, and I hope you guys stand up for yourselves, and I hope you say that this is not right, and this is not okay, and you're not going to sit here and make us look bad. You're not going to sit here and make the rest of us domestic violence victims who are true domestic violence victims look bad because you can't handle the fact that you left your husband after you emotionally cheated on him and then went after a married guy and that it got out. Don't make us look bad because you can't handle the truth. When reality is, for you, Juan, and for you, Jen, and for you, your friend, the reality is you need to come to the reality that I've come to, and that is the truth will set you free. I've been honest on this podcast, and it's set me free. It'll do the same for you. I will offer any of you to come on the show and talk out your problems, and I will listen to you, Juan. I will listen to you, Jen. I will listen to you, the other two friends who are being shitbags from time to time. And I want to hear how you're getting help. The world wants to hear how you're getting help. I think you can get help. I think you all have amazing people inside of you. You're just choosing to be shitbags right now to the millionth degree. But like I told you guys before, you can attack me all you want. You're going to lose. I am better at life than you. While you guys act irrationally, and you guys act out of impulse, and you guys act out of selfish thought and feelings, I act out of care and love and kindness and everything else. I look at all of my options, all of my actions, and all of my words are definitely calculated. I know what I'm saying, I know what I'm doing, and I know what I'm talking about. You guys are so far behind. I'm 50 moves ahead of you at all times. Because you guys are idiots when it comes to life. You can know how a bridge works and how shoe arches work, and you can have your master's degree, and you can have your six-figure income, but you guys suck at life. And you're trying to play a game with somebody who's been through so much shit and has been around the block a few times, that knows a thing or two about laws, that knows a thing or two about sharing pain, and that knows a billion things or two about being a good fucking human being and trying his best to better himself. And so when you, as a shitbag who's selfish and acts irrationally and acts on impulse and does everything for yourself, tries to attack the person who is good, who is true, who is honest, who tries to do good and right by everybody, including you two shitbags who hurt him, including that, you're going to lose every time. I'm playing chess, and you guys are playing chutes and ladders. So give up the game, put down your sword, and go get help. Let this be the last attack you put on me from the both of you. Because I give updates on every single show, and I will continue to give updates on every single show as to what's happening in my life. So if you don't want me to talk about you anymore, especially at length, then stop fucking attacking me and stop coming into my life. I told Jen this before, and I still mean it now. Jen, do not contact me unless you've gotten help and you've signed up yourself for marriage counseling classes and you're open and willing to hear what needs to be done to make that bridge right and mended and to get my forgiveness and to be at peace with each other, because that's the healthy thing. Somebody in your situation whose life has spiraled so far out of control that you're almost, I don't know where your rock bottom is. It should be this point. It should be, rock bottom should be the time that you go and file a false domestic violence injunction against somebody and it fails right in front of your face. To where a judge has to say, how did this even get through? Hopefully this is your rock bottom. It should be. It should be your wake-up call. And if it is, and if you go get real help to where you're actually honest with yourself and you say, Chris, I've scheduled us for a marriage counseling appointment, I will tell you what will need to be done after that. But don't contact me until you've got that thing scheduled. Don't contact me. Or, unless you're suicidal again, because unlike you, I'm not going to use your suicidal thoughts against you to create a stigma like you did with the injunction. How you said, I'm dangerous to you because I'm suicidal. And that's another thing that you did wrong, is you created the stigma. You're the reason why people don't want to come out and talk and say that I have suicidal thoughts, because people like you will go and use that against them to try to get something like a domestic violence injunction against them that you know is not true, because you don't want the truth to be out and because you're trying to get what you want. So not only did you go down and file an injunction and ruin stuff for people who are actual true domestic violence victims, but you've also fucked it up for people who may want to go and try to say, hey, I need help from a loved one. I'm suicidal. These are my thoughts, without the fear of them thinking that people are just going to think they're dangerous. And you're the reason why I've been so quiet about my suicidal thoughts, because I don't want people to think I'm dangerous. You are the epitome of all stigmas in society when it comes to domestic violence and mental health. That is what you are. But again, if you need help, just like I did the other day before you decided to go file a domestic violence injunction, Just like I did then, I will be there for you, and I will talk you down, and I will tell you that I care about you, and I will tell you that there's a great woman inside of you. You just got to find her, and you got to stop being so flawed. Because unlike you, I'm a good fucking person, and I care about everybody, including those who hurt me. And I will forgive you, and I will find peace with you, whether you're involved in that or not. And Juan, you've had so many opportunities to approach me like a damn man and tell me that you're interested in my wife and you're in an open relationship. And then you've had opportunities after I came out with this podcast to say, look, dude, I'm really sorry. I really fucked up. I shouldn't have done that. You have every right to be hurt. But can we please talk about taking this podcast down? No, instead, you wanted to listen to my ex-wife talk about going for a filing of an injunction while you told her that you're going to go file a complaint with Apple. Because you guys are cowards. Both of you are. And you're right for each other, I guess. You guys deserve each other. And if your wife is involved, I don't know. But she says your wife knows. I don't know if she knows. I don't know if she knows that you're fucking up my relationship. I don't know if she knows that, you're having Jen go down or not that you're having Jen go down, but you're a part of conversations of her going down to file a domestic violence injunction that is not that is false. That the only reason why she's doing it is so that you and her can be protected from the truth about who you guys are? Yeah. I'm still ready to forgive you, bud. And I will forgive you one of these days. And I'll come peace with you. With or without you. I hope you do figure it out. Because from what I understand, you have kids. And it's not your kids' fault that you're a shitbag. But eventually, you keep being a shitbag, your kids are going to be hurt by it. Period. End of story. You keep ruining people's families. And whether it's me again that comes out and it shows the consumers of the running world that you do not deserve their business because of who you are as a person and what you've done throughout the last 2 months, and you've had every opportunity to get off the damn interstate, but you haven't. You're still hanging out with Jen. You're still being a part of her shenanigans of hurting me and getting back at me and doing whatever she can to hurt me. You're still a part of that, dude. Y'all are toxic for each other, man. I don't see how you two don't realize this. I don't see how your wife doesn't realize how toxic Jen is for you. Your business might be going through some shit right now because Jen's been in your life. Period. End of story. But just like Jen, you had the decisions on your own too. You could have told her no. You could have told her I'm not interested in that stuff. You could have told her this, that, and the other. You could have gotten rid of her anytime you wanted to. But you didn't. You chose to keep her in your life, and you chose wrong. Because now that ever since Jen's been in your life has now, and it hasn't been 2 months, you've been skating free and clear, and then all of a sudden you hear this podcast drop, and I'm sure your stomach sank then. You were skating free and clear, but now you're going through some shitstorms because Jen is in your life. And I told Jen, too, that you're a selfish asshole and you don't give a care about her, and that guys like you don't give a shit. And clearly you don't. Because, like I said, Jen is lucky that I didn't get a chance to present my case. Jen is lucky I didn't get to prove to the judge that she is a lying SOB. And here's all the ways that she lied. And here's evidence. Here's text messages. Here's phone calls. Here's this. Here's that. And Jen is lucky that she didn't go spend the night in jail while you got to do the easy part. Just complain to Apple. And it's funny how Jen feels like she broke your trust and your friend's trust. But none of you give a shit that she broke my trust. And none of you give a shit that you broke my trust. Even though, Juan, you don't really have to earn my trust. But you broke a lot of people's trust. You broke the trust of your consumers who believe you to be a good standing citizen who doesn't try to ruin other people's marriages and doesn't stand by and make flirting comments like you should chase after what you want and doesn't watch as that woman decides whether or not she wants to be with her husband and just still flirts with her over the weekend and continues to be in her ear and continues to talk about her. You broke their trust, Juan. So Jen says that she's worried that you two are gonna be mad at her for breaking her trust. But I find it easy because Jen said also when her friend when her friend told me that you two made out, and I said that that's what her friend told me to Jen in front of my counselor. So if you want to say you never made out with Jen and that's a lie, well, I called Jennifer out on that in front of our marriage counselor. I said, Jen, your friend said that you made out with her, and she said, that bitch, I trusted her. I should have never told her that. And my counselor will go down and testify that that's what Jen said. So again, don't come at me with slander. Go to yourself and go to Jen. But, all right. I got to go on. This was a long episode. Everybody get help, please, especially if you're suicidal. If you're suicidal, contact me at the Chris America on Twitter, or you can go to Battle Inside Podcast at scoutteamradio.com, Battle Inside Podcast at scoutteamradio.com, or you can go to the National Suicide Hotline, which I never ever have up. 13, 14 episodes in, you think I'd have it. It's 1-800-273-8255, 1-800-273-8255. You can contact the crisis text line. Text home to 741-741, home to 741-741. You can text in that area, and that's a crisis text line. Or if you're not in the United States, you can go to suicide.org, go down to about a third of the page, and you'll see a link to other countries' suicide hotlines and stuff like that. And that includes you, Juan. That includes you, Jen. That includes you, other friend. If you're feeling suicidal, you are more than welcome to contact me, because at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know you, Juan, so I don't really care about you, but I care enough about you to be able to talk you through it. And Jen knows that I'm there to talk her through it. And any other stranger or friend knows that I'm there to talk them through it. I'm here for you guys. I'm not an expert. I'm mostly just going to listen. I'm mostly going to share my experiences with you to hopefully commiserate with you. And then I'm just going to tell you that you need to go get help. But talking about it, trust me, that's the best thing to do. Letting out your thoughts, especially to somebody who understands and who's been there before. Just let them out. Now let me play my little music outro. Sorry again, guys. I know this is supposed to be focused on mental health, but we really are pretty much know that I've made it about my life. Kind of being selfish, but hopefully you guys are able to see yourselves through things. Either through me standing up for myself, or see yourself in Jen, or see yourself in Juan, and see how it ruins another person's life. Maybe you don't know how bad you've hurt another person, and you see me emoting, and you can see that you've hurt a person that way, and now you truly know. Hopefully you try to make that right. Hopefully you try to mend that bridge and apologize to them. Because, honestly, it is the only healthy way to get peace and forgiveness, is to get it from the person that you got it from. And hopefully they'll give it to you. I know I'm ready to give it to Jen. I know I'm ready to give it to Juan. I know I'm ready to give it to her friend. They just have to be adult, man enough, woman enough to actually put down their sword, come to me and say, Chris, you're right. I fucked up. I shouldn't have fucked up. You had every right to say what you said about me, and I'm getting help. What do I need to do to get your forgiveness? And then we can talk from there. Looks like it was a commercial. All right, it was only 5 seconds. And there we go. My fun, happy music. Gonna go look at a house. Glad I get to go out this weekend sailing with my son and my mom without anything hanging over my head, without feeling like I have the disease of domestic violence injunction hanging on my life because somebody decided to be a jerk. I'm going to go enjoy the weekend. I hope you guys do too. I look forward to hearing from you. Battle Inside Podcast at scoutteamradio.com, Battle Inside Podcast at scoutteamradio.com, or the Chris America on Twitter. Have a good weekend, guys.